2021 was a weird year for stand-up comedy for obvious reasons, but that doesn't mean that nothing noteworthy came out. We got quite good specials, quite controversial specials, and not quite stand-up specials. Anyway, I decided to take a step back and see what the year 2020 had to offer. That gave me more time to watch things that I skipped last year, so the list will be more complete hopefully. And of course, there is a possibility that your favorite special isn't on the list, cause, you know, it's my list. Let me know what I've missed and which words I pronounced incorrectly. A jak oglądasz z Polski i nie rozumiesz angielskiego albo po prostu nie chcesz słuchać mojego cebuleckiego akcentu, to w poniedziałek będzie lista po polsku. So, without further ado, let's check out the top 10 stand-up specials of 2020.
You know the 7, don't you?
Who are these people?
The world is like a ride.
Oh, it's brutal!
You know the meaning of obscenity, don't you?
Number 10. Whitmer Thomas, The Golden One. Special for Bo Burnham's fans, he's a producer here. In 2020 we didn't know if Bo would ever come back to performing, and Whitmer Thomas was the next best thing to fill void in our hearts. Of course, he's not a carbon copy of Bo, but the vibe is pretty similar. Whitmer's stand-up is more personal, more revealing, and that's a plus. On the other hand, he's not as good at just, writing jokes. 20 minutes of material, 20 minutes of songs that are very good, but it's still kinda filler, and 20 minutes of family documentary. Not my favorite structure of comedy special, but I will keep my eye on Whitmer. And you should too. I have a feeling that in a couple of years, he may publish something on the level of, let's say, Make Happy. At the moment, it's more for sensitive types and not for fans of destroying on stage. Also, he gained some points for shooting location, very intimate and cozy. Nice. Number 9. Team Heidecker, An Evening with Team Heidecker. I'm usually not a fan of specials with a twist, it's a special, but also it's something else, and it's so intelligent and meta and blah blah blah. Especially because more often than not, the quality of jokes suffers. But what Heidecker did here, it's simply brilliant. An hour with the worst, most cookie cutter, most hack comedian ever. The level of cringe is through the roof. If you enjoy watching somebody dying on stage, constantly stumbling, crashing and burning, this special is for you. Or if you are a fan of Team Heidecker, Team and Eric, alternative comedy, anti-humor, or the art of stand-up as a whole, then you will love this shit. But if you just started your road as a comedy fan, I'll leave it for later. Many jokes and references will fly right over your head. Number 8. Louis C.K. Sincerely. You can see an understandable decline in quality here, but it's still a great special. For some, Louis didn't talk enough about you-know-what, and I agree to some degree, but I'm sure that was a conscious decision. On the technical side, it's probably his worst looking special, since Chewed Up or Shameless. We got some strange camera movement and out of focus shots here and there, which is weird because Louis was always the gold standard in this department. But on the material and delivery side of things, it's still great. Louis still got it. Still takes his audience to the dark and uncomfortable places and finds their laughter and humor. I understand that some folks may have moral objections to watching CK's comedy, but not me. So if you can see past the whole controversy thing, I highly recommend this special. And all of his stuff, really. Number 7. Beth, Stelling, Girl Daddy. Long time ago there was a YouTube channel called Modern Comedian with interviews with lesser known comedians. And Beth was one of them. And now she has a real special. And a really good one at that. She creates a very friendly atmosphere on stage, only to punch you in the face with a brutal joke when you least expect it. There's nothing wrong with being warm and friendly on stage. It only sucks when there are no real jokes behind that. But here, there are plenty of them. Often razor sharp and dirty ones, delivered in a nonchalant, almost whimsical way. She reminds me a little bit of Louis C.K., kinda similar delivery here. Also, and that's a biggie, Stelling shows that there is no such a thing as an overused subject. She puts great new spin on topics that may seem that way when tackled by less skilled comedians. Once again, Not the subject matter, but what you're gonna do with it. That counts. 2 or 3 hiccups during the show didn't prevent me from really enjoying this special. Number 6. Sam Morril, I Got This, and Joe List, I Hate Myself. Okay, I will cheat here a little bit and put both of them in the 6th spot. For one thing, they already make a podcast together, and they are also in this kind of group of younger upcoming comedians. So, these specials are for you if you are looking for, how to say it, regular stand-up, normal stand-up, but that doesn't necessarily mean plain or bland. They both have absolutely spotless joke writing technique. Meticulous is the good word to describe it. And at the same time, guys cover a lot of topics and joke types and bits. But I don't know if I will remember anything about these specials after a week or so. There's a lack of something that those specials are about, something that distinguishes them from others. And I didn't learn almost anything about Sam and Joe. No personal touch, something to grab onto. Maybe I'm just more of a storytelling fan, or maybe they will explore this stuff in the future, cause they are still really young. But for sheer quality of material, they deserve place on this list. Number 5. Doug Stanhope, The Dying of a Last Breed. I have a little problem with Stanhope. I can watch him for hours. But at the same time, I don't think I can recommend his latest stuff to somebody that isn't already his fan. There was a time that I've seen a lot of Bill Hicks in him. Today he's closer to George Carlin maybe. Concepts, analogies, social commentary, all that stuff is top-notch here. Only sometimes after those great premises, there's no real punchline. Often beat just ends and that's it. And that's not the first Stanhope special with this quality, so maybe it's just a part of Doug's style nowadays. And to be honest, I don't really want him to change that. I don't know. For me, it's gold. But I can totally see that somebody else can find it a little bit tedious. Number 4. James Acaster, Cold Lasagne Hate Myself, 1999. Acaster or Acaster, I don't know which is correct, has become one of the most celebrated UK comedians. And he confirms his position with this special. The first hour is ridiculously good, full of callbacks and meta jokes. James stays in his private world that he's shown us on the repertoire, but this time he gives much more reference to our outside world. And he managed to smuggle quite a bit of physical comedy and not get on my nerves, which is an achievement on its own. Second hour couldn't work without the first one. It's still interesting, it's very personal, but just not funny enough. We approach one-man show territory here. No wonder that it ends with a callback to a bit from the first part. Also, this special looks exceptional. Even with such a large stage and so many very wide shots, I didn't feel alienated. First hour, 9 out of 10, second, 5, in some 7 out of 10, and the 4th place on this list. Number 3. Tom Segura, Ball Hog. For some time now you can see a spread of a new disease among comedians. Let's call it a Netflix syndrome. In a nutshell, Netflix wants to publish specials and wants to pay for them. So comedians have to make lots of them and make them fast. 2 years between specials? No, that's way too long. And that leads to unpolished and rushed sets, especially when you cannot really test them properly like last year. You can see symptoms of Netflix syndrome in the latest Maron, and even more in Patton Oswalt. Jesus, there are so many unfinished bits on I Love Everything. It's mind-boggling. But there is one man that seems to be unaffected by this virus. Tom Segura is the undisputed king of Netflix. At least from what I've seen, because I still refuse to watch anything with Kevin Hart in it. We got another outstanding hour, maybe the best of his career. For sure, the dirtiest. And I love it. Cause, you know, in 2020, a great special put out also Tom Papa or Seinfeld. But I was never a fan of that kind of squeaky clean material. If stand-up comedy doesn't offend somebody, doesn't make somebody say, oh my god, then I'm out. It's not for me. But Tom here, Tom put his boot right through your face. And at the same time, he's not tense, he's not a tryhard, he's loose, relaxed, confident. So much great material in this special. And he hosts like 7 podcasts at the same time or something. It's really impressive. In other moment in history, not in our current stand-up bubble, Tom will be a candidate for Comedy Mount Rushmore for the GOAT title and legendary status. So let's watch and enjoy his stuff. Number 2. Mark Normand, Out to Lunch. Another comic from strong young group with some Morril and Joe list, and one that's riding the biggest upward trend right now, and he deserves that 100%. Out to Lunch special is absolutely great. Mark is incredibly fast, but at the same time he doesn't wear you down, which is not easy to accomplish. Without any problem, he combines observational Seinfeld-esque humor with more personal and very his insights and life stories. Once again, that kind of mix is not easy to pull off. I laughed it out loud more than a couple of times. New and fresh material on abortion, homosexuality, dating, you'll find it all here. I wished only for something super memorable, something that will always pop in my head when I think about this special, some defining bit, if you will. But that is just nitpicking at this point. Incredibly strong material. Surprisingly, nobody wanted to buy it. Not HBO, not Netflix, but hey, thanks to that, you can watch it on YouTube now for free, which I strongly recommend. With this special, Mark Normand is taking his place in the top tier of stand-up comedians. Hope he will stay there for long. Okay, before we go to number 1, let's see what else interesting came out in 2020. I really wanted to watch the newest Hannibal Buress special, but he removed it from YouTube. There was some chatter about somebody publishing it, but nothing came out of it as of today. Still waiting. There were some specials that focused on cheering and clapping more than laughter, for example Fortune Famestar, Sweet and Salty, or Douglas from Hannah Gadsby, more stand-up-esque than Nanette, but still completely not my cup of tea. And in the same category, surprisingly, Eric Andre Legalize Everything was much more about cheering than laughing in my opinion. If you don't want to waste your time, I will summarize it for you: drugs and screaming. Screaming and drugs. That's it, pretty much nothing else. Not everything that works in his show works on stage. Gaffigan stopped even pretending that he gives a shit and now just makes whole specials about food, and he's constantly whispering. In the past his whisper was the voice of audience, now he whispers all the time, so everything just blends into this one grey, boring mush. Frankie Boy is slowly but surely transforming into some kind of preacher moralist, which he himself admits, and that causes a decline in quality of his material in my opinion. He still can write great brutal jokes, don't get me wrong, it's just a shame that he chooses to do so rarely. Oh, and Pete Davidson doesn't know why he got a Netflix special in an admirable moment of self-awareness, because with that kind of delivery he would bump on any given open mic night. Okay, enough, let's go to number 1, Eddie Pepitone, For the Masses. Dear God, how I liked this special. To this point I kinda missed Eddie's work. I've seen some snippets here and there, but for example the documentary Bitter Buddha is still waiting on my watch list. But it won't wait much longer because I need more Eddie Pepitone in my life. If somebody will tell you that experience is not that important in stand-up comedy, just show him this special. Of course, talent is a thing, but this set is all about experience. It must have bombed for like hundreds of times before it clicked, but when it clicked, man, it really clicked. Take this absolutely crazy opening bit. A lesser comic would have fucked it up like 5 times, but not Eddie. And then it gets even better. Stage presence, warm lights, set design, and beats so fucking good that you don't know when one ends and another begins. Not one boring moment here. There's a lot of theatrical quality in his performance, but not the kind that takes you out of it. On the contrary, it adds to the whole experience. And even if we don't get some emotional exhibitionism, no childhood trauma or so, you still have a feeling that kinda know Eddie after this set. You get what kind of person he is, what makes him tick. Seriously, I cannot point out even one thing that I didn't like about this special. It hit the mark for me 100%. Jesus, Stelling on Spotify, but only his early stuff. Fucking genius. I'm in love. And that's it. Best specials of 2020 in my opinion. That was a quite strong year. A lot of good stuff came out. A lot of, let's say, second-tier comedians showed high-quality materials. For some, like Mark Normand or James Acaster, it probably marks the transition to the top shelf. What did you like this year? What did you hate? And where can I see this Hannibal special? Anybody knows? I really want it. Anyway, thank you for your time. See you soon. My name is Krzysztof Sawczuk and this was Stand Up Teka.